good morning from Schaffhausen here in Switzerland. I'm standing alongside the River Rhine. A couple of birds flying past. Couldn't have timed that better if I tried. But I am today heading first of all up towards the castle, which is on top of a hill nearby. Then we'll stroll through the Old Town and hopefully take a river walk to end up at Europe's largest waterfall. It is a cold, crisp morning, but it's bright. I think we're going to have a good day. Schaffhausen is both a town and a canton here in northern Switzerland. Let's start by looking at the town. It has a population of about 35,000 people, and it dates back at least to the early Middle Ages. In 1501 it became a member of the Old Swiss Confederacy. These days it is famed for its Renaissance era buildings, which without doubt attract many tourists from far and wide to come and spend some time here in the town. We'll be looking at those buildings a little bit later on in the video. As far as the canton goes, it is one of 26, don't you know, and it contains the only 4 towns in Switzerland that are north of the Rhine River. Well, we've made it to the top of the steps. Not sure how many there are, but it felt like hundreds. And now we're going to go inside and have a look at the actual Munot. The fortress was built over a period of 25 years, from 1564 to 1589. And it always had a high guard on duty. He would be keeping an eye out for approaching enemies, but also cargo ships that might be coming down the Rhine. He would be giving warnings to people on the docks for them to be unloaded. He'd be watching out for fires and approaching storms as well. Inside is a series of pillars with a stone fortified arched roof. At the time that it was built, the fortification cost just under 50,000 guilders, which, just to give you some sense of how much that was, it would have at the time built around 800 houses here in Schaffhausen. There's a model here of the fortress, so give you a quick sense of where we are. The vineyards and the moats around the outside. It is a circular design with a tower here. You can't access the tower though, but you can access inside. I'm currently in there somewhere, and I think next we're going to head up towards the roof, which is through that door over there. I'm following a spiral stone slope to the top. I'm now at the highest point in the fortress, and you may be able to hear behind me there is a couple of musicians playing some what I guess is Swiss traditional music in the background. A couple of moments ago they were actually joined by a choir and they sang for about 5-10 minutes. It was really nice to listen to. On top here there are 4 hatches that reach down into the main fortress below. There's a tower. There's a defensive wall around the perimeter of this ring-shaped fortress, and some unbelievable views on one section where the wall is missing or was never built in the first place, looking over the incredible houses here in Switzerland, the Rhine River, some bridges and some meadows and hills in the distance. The fortress was designed with military purposes in mind, of course, but there are also signs that indicate that the local population wanted to showcase the area by adding additional aesthetic features to the fortification itself, maybe to encourage any invading armies to think twice once they saw the magnificence of this fortification. Right, time to head down. I would definitely recommend a visit if you're in the town. It is free to get in, and there are about 70-80 steps to get up to the top, but once you get up here, I can assure you it is totally worth the effort. And this building behind me has got to be the most impressive in the town. It is called the Haus zum Ritter, or as it translates, the Knight's House, and it was built in 1566. And you can see the glorious facade being one of the most important Renaissance era frescoes north of the Alps. If you look at the detail of the painting, it is incredible. It is bright, vibrant, lots of detail in the characters. There are many symbols used and stories told. If you look closely, it looks like the statues and the pillars are real, but they're actually painted on. And the only things that protrude from the building itself are the roof at the top, the small tiled roof at the bottom, and the Oriel window, and we will get more onto them in just a couple of moments. Unfortunately, that fresco is not the original. It was taken off and placed in a museum somewhere in 1935 to preserve it, and then repainted on in the style of the original a few years later. One thing that there are plenty of in Switzerland is water fountains. There is one here in this beautiful square, and I'm reliably told by the lady at the hotel where I stayed last night that all the fountains here in Schaffhausen are drinkable, so you can fill up your water bottles, although I suspect that's the case for the whole of Switzerland. Don't take my word for it. And look at these incredible buildings. We're in a lovely square at the moment. I should also say that the town of Schaffhausen is German-speaking. It is the German-speaking part of Switzerland, not in the French or Italian parts of Switzerland. And as I said, look at these lovely, colourful buildings, different architectural styles, and then back to this incredible water fountain. Look how clear and inviting that water actually is. It is the same for the Rhine, really, really clear, but a bit cold for a dip today. Found what I believe to be the main square this time. It's a little bit larger than the last one. It's not quite as pretty, but it's still nice to sit here and relax and do a little bit of people watching. In the centre there is some fountains set up for children, plenty of interesting buildings once again, some in the traditional Swiss style, others a little bit more modern, let's say, like the theatre building on the other side of the square. Whilst here, I thought I would tell you about Oriel windows, because it is something that Schaffhausen is quite famous for. There are over 100 here in the town, and I guess the first question is, what are Oriel windows? So if you don't know, they're a type of bay window, usually found on the first floor or above, and they are supported not by the ground or by pillars or columns, They are supported by cantilevers within the wall structure itself. They are decorative both inside and out. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you too many that are inside, but I can show you a few that are outside. Many of them painted in different colours, put together in different styles, some with inscriptions and unique symbols. It does tend to add a little bit more class and style to the building. I'm no expert, but that's what I make of it. I quite like seeing them as I walk around the town. It is a beautiful town, no doubt about it. You can see these pretty sunlit buildings here behind me, and we'll leave those behind as we walk into a foyer area of an old monastery that is partly built in the 12th century in the Romanesque style and partly built in the 13th century in the Gothic style. That looks like the entrance to the main church, so we'll poke our head inside, see if we can see anything. I'm not sure if it's open to the public. Look at these incredible memorials on the walls here. They are giant and well decorated. Look at the care that's been taken into this door. Look at it. It's carved. Let's give it a go. Oh, the door is opening automatically for me. I didn't want to disturb anybody. Thankfully, there's nobody in here to disturb at the moment, so I think we're all good. I'll show you the altar. Lovely table of fruit and flowers. There is the altar with a giant, is it a mosaic, and some windows above it. The ceiling looks very, very modern, actually. I would say that this is a fairly recent addition to the monastery. And over there is the organ, of course, above the door. I've entered the main cloister now of the monastery, and it is a really nice place, as you would expect. Lots to see and enjoy as you're walking through it, and a really well-kept wooden ceiling. There is a museum and cafe that you can also use here in the complex, and in the middle of the cloisters, of course, is a lovely garden that you can see but not enter. Perhaps one of the original bells of the monastery. And then just outside the cloisters is a recreated medieval herb garden. Back in the day, monks used to keep it as a place to enjoy, and so it has been recreated to look like it did back in the day. And look at these incredible memorials here inside the cloisters. Take a look at that behind me. Lots and lots of them. You could spend hours here just looking at them. And if you were impressed by the size of that bell a minute ago, we are heading out to another little secret forgotten courtyard. And take a look at the size of this one here. Look at that. That must have been from the main church. So parking in this car park, at least between the hours of 6 p.m. on a Saturday and 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, is free of charge. So I got here in the town last night at about 10 p.m. There's a story there, but I was able to park in here for free overnight, and I've left the car here until now. It's currently Sunday afternoon. I'm going to have to move it because I'm driving up to the waterfall, but the plan was originally to leave it here until tonight when I head off to my next destination here in Switzerland. Thanks so much for tuning in. Coming up in the next video, I am heading just a few miles downstream to what is reportedly Europe's most powerful waterfall. I'll see you there.